Welcome to Encounter Wargaming, I'm Jay, and today we're going to be checking out A Blast from the Past, the expansion to the first edition of Necromunda, the Outlanders Rulebook. So the last couple weeks we've checked out the Necromunda rulebook, the original first edition of Necromunda is my understanding, and the source book. These books came together in the original starter set, so that was a sweet blast from the past. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And then today we're going to be expanding on that by looking at the first expansion, the Outlanders Expansion set. So this set came with a whole bunch of new cardboard terrain, like the original set came with all the cardboard terrain, and as well as expanding rules. So let's take a look at those rules. Alright, let's continue on our journey into the original Necromunda. Today we're looking at the Outlanders Supplement. Let's dig into it. So in the last video, I was talking about how Rick Priestley and Jervis Johnson and those guys were the ones that sort of designed this game, and that Andy Chambers and guys like that really started to come in 3rd edition. Like I said, this game itself was really the transition from 2nd into 3rd, and same with Gorka Morka and stuff like that. It really showed the transition from 2nd into 3rd, especially with the redo of the orcs to match the sort of Gorka Morka line, and then even get bigger from there. But long story short, Andy Chambers as opposed to Rick Priestley, this is where these guys started to take over. And we're looking at 96, so it's the year after the last rulebook came out. If you guys saw the last video, it was 95. Again, badass 90s paint jobs with the goblin green base and the green flock. Look at the terrain even, it's all brightly colored and everything. Crazy. So this supplement is your rules for all the add-ons. You know, pit slaves, hired guns, even psychers. We've got, which they called weirds back then, which is like the orc weird boy is called now for that reason. Because you gotta understand, back in Rogue Trader as well as in 2nd edition, all the races basically shared relatively the same weapons and stuff. One thing I found crazy about this supplement, now looking back at it, like I say, I did not play in this edition. I played in the next edition of Necromunda a little tiny bit, not even much. But I did play in 2nd edition 40k, and this mimics that very much. But I talked about that in the last video. One thing I did find surprising about this supplement is that it does have rules for aliens. We've got Eldar, we've got orcs, we've got gene stealers. Now, of course, you expect gene stealer hybrids and things like that, which are also in here in a place like Necromunda. But I don't expect to see orcs and Gretchen, which I found really cool, and Chaos Space Marines, but we'll get into all that, and Chaos Demons. How nuts is that? I didn't even think they brought that stuff into Necromunda. Apparently they did. So this set of course gave you more cardboard scenery just like we saw in the original set, and extra counters and things, I guess, for the extra rules that are going to be in this book. And here we go, getting into it. The old school layout, the way they used to do things. We got our fluff over here, badass title page as always, starting with the Outlaws. This is what it means to be an outlaw in Necromunda. Foraging, starving, so I guess the campaign rules slightly different from the gang experience rules and stuff like that. We've got outlaw territories now in this, expanding the territory lists a bit. But it's basically explaining things the way it did in the last book with the gangs. I assume they work relatively the same way. Of course, we've got a different table, different set of tables for them than we do from the normal gangs. Price charts for all the weapons. We're seeing the same system here. They're obviously just expanding on it with all new stuff. And we've got all new scenarios as well. Awesome. So again, your core rules are in the last book I showed you guys. And then these would be an expansion onto it. So they're giving you a list of new scenarios here. Awesome. Again, that guy firing a las cannon from the shoulder. I don't even know if that's possible, but sweet. Cool. You can hire guards for your leader. And then we've got all the Outlander tribes. So we've got Outlanders, we've got Scavies. I mentioned the Ratskins in the last video, how I didn't think they were a part of it yet, but there they are, the Ratskin Renegades. They were mentioned in the last book, but not given expanded rules, and I guess that's them here. We've got the Scavies, which are like your Underhive mutants and stuff like that. There you go, and all the rules for them. So we've got brand new army lists for gangs in this world that are different from the standard gangs that you got in the rulebook. We got a totally different experience system for the scavies. Awesome. The Redemptionists. I loved these models back in the day. There were so many times I wanted to purchase these to use as Chaos Cultists or as badass ecclesiastical imperial models. Guaranteed, if I got my hands on any of these old school Redemptionist models now, I would definitely be putting them in 40k armies. They still hold up to this day. But good luck finding them without spending an arm and a leg. But hey, if you got the money and the time to search eBay and stuff like that, check them out. Wicked cool models. So we've got, again, all new rules for their units. Obviously differentiating them from the other core gangs in the rule set. Ratskin Renegades. Awesome. All their rules. How it's working. Weapons, again, different experience system. So this is when they really started to expand on the game. Spires. Basically the rich people that used to come down and mess with the gangs because they had all the cool toys and they just like to stir up shit. Badass. Again, separate experience systems. We've got pit slaves. Awesome. That guy looks so cool with a buzzsaw. Rock drill. Bam. So they're bringing some of this old fluff back into the new game with the Gene Stealer cults. Wicked cool. Viscerators still exist in 40k today. Now this is things where 40k still kind of held on to its Warhammer Fantasy roots because we've got muskets and hand bows, blunderbusses and scatterguns, which obviously existed in fantasy, in Warhammer Fantasy. Awesome. Discus throwing axe. And then the Spire weapons, of course, are more advanced. We've got a special web spinner, mononuclear sword, monomolecular sword. Which I guess this is the same as what the Eldar use in the fluff now. Necrotic slime, cool. Different abilities and stuff, looks like. Stinger mold, yelled wings, yeah, those are the Spire equipment. Ooh, and then we've got new rules for terrain, which I don't believe were in the last book. Toxic fog. Even just something as simple as bad light. Oh man, there were so many tables to roll on, it was nuts. Everything was so random. Actually, it made for a really long afternoon of gaming, but it almost made the game more fun. I mean, they don't have these things in 40k anymore, and I kind of miss it, but at the same time I like the streamlining. There you go. Leadership of gangs, hired guns, pit slaves. Sweet. Pit slave army list. Weirds. So now we're bringing psychers into the game. Into Necromunda, that is. Obviously they already existed in 40k, where now we're bringing them into Necromunda. I wonder if there'll be any psyker rules in the new one. In the new Necromunda. Beastmasters, command giant rats, ripperjacks, the various monsters that exist in the Necromunda Underhive. So we've got pyromaniac powers, telepathy, telekinesis, very similar to the names of the psychic powers in the last edition of 40k, the 6th, 5th, and 6th editions. Minor powers, that's interesting. I think they existed in 40k too back then in 2nd, if I recall correctly. I could be wrong. I think there was major and minor powers, which is pretty cool. And now we're getting into special characters. There's something we didn't see in the last edition of Necromunda, or the last book in this series, I should say. I guess back then they really wanted you to create your own characters. I mean, that's kind of the point of Necromunda, is to build a gang, that's based on your own sort of personality, and then build up experience as they go through the campaign. But I guess Necromunda has well-known various characters. Redwart the Magnificent. Mad Donna. The sense of humor they used to have in the games back then is sorely missed today. Which is probably why I still play orcs, because they have held on to at least a little bit of the sense of humor. Brackar the Avenger, he that rains death. Hilarious. And then we're getting into campaigns. So, in this book, they are giving you now examples of campaigns and campaign event tables and stuff, so you can create campaigns that mimic said campaigns. Here we go. Got scenarios, so you can. It makes it so much easier instead of designing your own campaign. With the terrain, again, that comes in the set, much like we saw in the last book. Purge. Hive Vermin, Deviant Scum. Cultists, Mutants. Yeah, here we go. We got Eldar Scouts, we got Genestealer Hybrids, Chaos Space Marines. Wow. I really don't remember them bringing Chaos Space Marines into this game, but again, I didn't play this edition. I guess they just want you to be able to bring your models over from Warhammer 40,000 to use in Necromunda. Much like they did when 40,000 first came out, they wanted you to bring your fantasy miniatures in, which created a lot of similarities between the two games. More or less, 40k used to just be Warhammer Fantasy in space. But I guess with the next edition of Necromunda, they took that out because it was just confusing. Now we've got Shadow War Armageddon, where we've basically got this Necromunda rule set with Chaos Space Marines and Necrons and Tau and all the rest. Which is crazy, but whatever. That's what it is. There we go. Setting up campaigns. Badass. I almost thought there was a Redemptionist dude, but he's followed by mutants, so that's wicked cool. Storming the barricades. Arbitrator scenario. Cool. So Arbites. Scenarios specifically for the Arbites. And then we're getting into the Bestiary, so this is all the fun stuff. Gigantic spiders. Ash clams. Gas fungus. Melosars. Ripperjacks. That looks like a Ripperjack to me, actually. I guess sort of a pseudo-tyrannid monster. Brainleaf. Brainleaf. The creativity they had back then. Sludge jellies. There you go, giant rats. Cool. Face eaters. Lashworms. So cool. So there you go, you got a Brood Brother. You got Scabies. Just basic summaries of them all. Mutants, Cultists, Beastmen. Beastmen! So there's something from Fantasy that sort of got transferred into 40k. I remember back in 2nd edition here, even with Chaos, you could have a whole Beastman army. Like literally, you're taking your Warhammer Fantasy army and putting it on a 40k battlefield, and you could still play. I remember going to Mega Battles back then. I played 40k, and I remember going to Fantasy Mega Battles with some Chaos Demons, and still understanding the rules of the game, because the two games were so similar. And then, this blew my mind right here. Aliens. I don't remember there being rules for aliens. Definitely in the next edition of Necromunda after this, they did not put aliens into it. But when I look back through this book and I was like, Orcs and Gretchen? What? In Necromunda? That blows my mind. Of course, we got Genestealer Hybrids, Genestealer Magus. Again, these are 40k units that they've obviously brought into Necromunda because they wanted, this really fits with the sort of atmosphere of Necromunda, having Genestealer cults. Because that's literally how Genestealer cults work. They infiltrate human societies. Necromunda, being a hive world, it would be the best place to set up a Genestealer cult. But Chaos Space Marines. And once again, like these entries here, with the psychology pinning, you know, like the weapons, the armor, their skills, this is more or less how the 40k unit entries were laid out back then. So it's just really cool to see that they brought them into the game. And then this, demons. Demons in Necromunda. Cornate demons, we've got Fleshhounds and Bloodletters. We've got Slaneshi demons, we've got Demonettes and Fiends, Pink, Blue, and Blue Horrors and Flamers. And then, of course, Plague Bearers and Beasts of Nurgle. Awesome. So that's the book, guys. Let's check out this artwork here. Or, sorry, check out the paint jobs on the miniatures back then once more. Oh, man. Everything was so bright and comical. I love it. In fact, these are spectacular paint jobs even to this day. If somebody painted their armies like this, I would be like, you're awesome, just rebase your stuff. Because the old Goblin Green base is definitely not fitting with today's aesthetics, but these models are so cool with very few exceptions. Of course, this looks silly to me at this point. This guy right here. Even this guy, there's just no dynamics at all, but there wasn't a lot back then. But like these rat skins and the zombies and stuff, like, I would still use these models in 40k. No problem. But yeah. So that's the Outlanders expansion to Necromunda. I hope you guys enjoyed that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. A look at the first expansion to Necromunda, the Outlanders rulebook. Next week I'm going to be showing you guys this Battles in the Underhive expansion, which was really cool. It was really just a collection of White Dwarf articles. So back in the days when they used to do compendiums and stuff, really brings me back, like I say. So we're going to check that out next week. If you like this video, if you like the Old Hammer videos, if you like our battle reports and our unboxings and our tutorials and all of the other campaigns and cool stuff that we do, please hit subscribe. And also hit that little notification button right next to it, and you will be notified every time one of our videos comes out, which is normally Tuesdays and Thursdays, in case you didn't already know that. And basically, if you like our normal Tuesday and Thursday releases, please check out our Patreon account. For as little as $1 a video, so basically for those 2 videos a week, you will get access to a whole bunch of other videos that nobody else other than the patrons get access to. Plus, when we do series, when we do campaign series or tutorial series, we usually insert one of the 4 or one of the 5 videos for patrons only. Also, we have a whole bunch of other videos. We give you behind the scenes all the time on what's going on in our hobby studios and what's coming up on the channel, which only patrons get access to. So check out the Patreon account if you want a little bit more out of your Encounter Wargaming experience, and we'll see you at our next encounter.
Like a monkey in a rocket on his way back home. Okay.